Hello, my name is Ena Kenyawe. Welcome to Youth Assembly on Tweet Night Online Radio today, the 26th of October 2020. A show where we talk about issues in Nigeria and how they affect Nigerian youth. Here, the Nigerian youth comes first. Following the protest which started earlier this month in Nigeria, calling on the government to disband the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, and to put a stop to police brutality in the country. Many stories are trending globally, especially on the internet, where thousands of posts have been made on various social media platforms with the hashtag #EndSARS, most of which turned out to be fake news. Fake news is untrue information presented as news. It often has the aim of damaging the reputation of a person or an entity. Once common in print, the prevalence of fake news has increased with the rise of social media. With so much information on the streets and on the internet, it can be very challenging to know what stories or information to believe and how to spot a lie, as many Nigerians are in the state of uncertainty. On Youth Assembly today, our focus is on the state of the nation, the effect of fake news, as well as the role of fake news in our society. Joining me to discuss these are Comrade Al Mustafa Asuku Abdullahi. He is the former president, National Youth Council of Nigeria. Thanks for joining us, Comrade.
Hello?
Yes. And then we also have Mr. Olanrewaju Abolarinwa. He's a security expert. Thanks for joining us, sir.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Olatibosun, not Olanrewaju.
Okay. Olabosun Abolarinwa. My
Olatibosun.
apologies.
Thank you.
We also have Mrs. Zainab Buba Galadima. She's former councillor as well as former SA to the Vice President on Domestic and Sexual Violence. Thanks for joining us, Madam.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And Mr. Kingsley Atang. He's a youth development practitioner. You're welcome on the show, Mr. Kingsley. In the past few days now, and during the protest, a lot of misinformation have been flying around, escalating an already bad situation. Why do you think the menace of fake news is becoming rampant these days, Mr. Abolarinwa?
Well, we can't really call it a menace. We can call it part of the strategic failure of different arms of government and the social media handler that are supposed, or social media hosts that are supposed to have a kind of verification framework in place to filter every form of information that is coming through them before coming through to the public. So it's a systemic failure, it's a strategic failure, and the earlier something is done about that, the better. Everybody is a victim once wrong or false information get to the hand of the public. It could go a long way in damaging a country, a reputation, like you have rightly said earlier on, of a person or an entity or organization. So there needs to be a systemic verification framework project whereby any information that is about to come into the public domain, we have to go through this filter of verification framework before somebody allows it to come into the public.
Okay. Mr. Kingsley, would you like to add to that?
So I beg to differ because as a civil society practitioner, I think that might trying to regulate the civic space for communication might seem as if it's going to be an attempt to shrink the voices of civil society or civil citizens to talk. So I would rather come from the approach where there should be an increase in terms of public intentional towards verifying informations, ensuring that you verify informations from credible sources. I personally, I don't get consumed by anything that comes from the media, from the social media. No, I must be able to ensure that I verify those informations. I ensure that they are credible enough. Um, Something WhatsApp does that is very incredible. WhatsApp is able to actually not allow you populate information once they see that it has gone through a lot of sources. And then there are other things now, because to be very honest, this is actually one of the should I say, other side to freedom of speech, which of course is all very, very good. So I think what should be done is an increasing public awareness on the need for citizens to verify information and not be consumed by any piece of information, especially the social media. The social media is just like a refuge where everything just comes in there. So I think it's also important. We need to be able to check that off.
Okay, so you just talked about verifying news when you see it online. Now, this morning we woke up to hear that the Minister of Works and Housing uh, discovered some recording at the Lekki toll gate incident. How do you verify that kind of news when it's not on WhatsApp? Because you talked about WhatsApp trying to regulate news as well. So how do you verify it on other social media platforms if they are genuine or fake?
Okay, so we already have credible media organization, media outlets that are out there in the public doing their business legitimately, putting out information that are legitimate. And one of the things I also, even most of them, what they do is that they're able to send out this information. They have social media handles. They have, like, for instance, okay, I don't want to mention some of them. We already know them. There are some credible TV stations that are online. NTA is one of them, TVC, channels, they're all there. And they also have social media handles. So for me now, especially during the NSAS protest,
Okay, we can hardly hear you now. I think the network may be having some, you may be having some issues with the network over there. Okay, some of the comments we have at this point, I would like to say, okay, Hiokian, she says, great, great. Ami says, awesome. Hafsat Isa says, nice outing. Okay, thank you very much. Now, looking at the state of the country, Nigeria now, with lots of stories rising from the NSAS protest, many people are confused on what to and what not to believe. Why do you think some persons will want to create a fake story or give false information or misinformation to others, Mrs. Zainab?
Hello. I think, one, people have lost confidence in the government. They don't really trust what the government says, because you find out that a few times they announce that this is going to happen, and then at the end of the day, one will discredit it and say, no, this is not. I think, they need to be more transparent. They need to be more accountable to the government, to the people, so as to reduce the level of distrust between the people and them. And I think, just like Mr. Ola said, sorry, can you, the question just skipped my mind again. Can you,
Okay,
why do
I said, why do you think some persons will want to create a fake story or give false information or misinformation to others?
yeah, it's the lack of transparency, to be honest. There is very little confidence in the government, and so this has given room, or given other people the opportunity to send out false information. If you're transparent and you're accountable to the people, which is very, very important, if you are that, then you find out that there is less information, fake information going out on the street. And at the end of the day, this informations that go out, they can cause well, not say riots and whatnot, But if the government is firm, and also there needs to be consequences for these actions, you know, that people do. There needs to be consequences, and there needs to be thorough investigation. Everything, transparency, to be honest, is the key. If there's transparency, everything will fall into place. And I think that's what we're lacking.
Okay. Comrade, would you like to add to that? Like sometimes, even apart from what has happened in the recent past, in general, there's a lot of fake news out there. Why would people want to just give fake news, like misinform others on? Comrade, are you there? I think you may be having issues with it. Mr. Ola, can you help us out?
All right, then why would people want to send fake news out? There are people that benefit from that, and there are organizations that benefit from that. The government have an opposition who would want to use this opportunity to destabilize or debase the information. The police have enemies. We have the criminal world that will want to do anything to dent the image of the police. Unlike Ajia Senab Galadima earlier put it, the issue of transparency is transparency on the part of the government. You see, this information is out there. The incident is out there. Somebody needs to take advantage of it and come out with the fact and do so on time, bearing in mind that there are people who will want to take advantage of it and bring out a distorted or wrong or false information from it. So I think the Ministry of Information, the Communication, and all the media aid of the government, with all the tools available to them, are supposed to come out and be transparent enough to list out what is the fact and list out what is not a fact, so that people will not be misinformed. There should be a platform that myself and yourself can go to and check which is fact and which is not fact, giving reasons why they think this picture, this video clip, this voicemail is true or false. Yes, whoever that is passing the information to have the owners to ensure that the information you are giving out is not false, and there should be a consequences for passing out wrong information. The fact that Mr. A passed out wrong information does not give Mr. B the power or any genuine reason to pass on the same information. So people need to be responsible enough to ensure that this information, I need to verify it. Does it make sense? Where did it happen? When did it happen? Who did it happen to? Who was involved? How did it happen? If you ask yourself all these questions, you will come up with an answer to know whether this information is genuine or not. The government have a lot of opposition now that may want to misuse information or may want to use wrong information to destabilize the society, and that needs to be taken into account.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, looking at our comments, Hawa Muhammad says, I think people should probe whatever news they get fed, because for fake news, there is always something that doesn't add up. Now, Comrade Al-Mustafa, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, so talking about fake news, why do you think members of the public, anybody, could want to misinform other people and just generate fake news?
First of all, you have to we'll go to the government side. The government need to be proactive in their doing. When you see issue of fake news create what? Distrust within the government and the society. The failure of government in proactiveness has created the vacuum for people that are going around with the fake news up and down. We advocate for every Nigerian, every media house says that, okay, whatever you want to do with very genuine, sincere news to the public, because of the gravity of what the fake news can cause. Because it can cause social vices, cause chaos in the society. But for the government side, government is not being proactive in their own side in stopping all those issue of fake news in our society, which I believe the government need to do more and wake up to their responsibility. Because when the government is not sincere, everybody will take advantage of what the government is doing. Then the people want to incite the public to against the government. So the government need to be sincere first, so that when the people are now sending the media houses, whatever handle they are doing their fake news, people will now debunk it now. No. So this government, I don't think they have done enough in the issue of how to curtail the issue of fake news.
Okay, judging by what has happened in the country in the past few weeks, what would you say the impact of fake news is on the country as a whole and then the citizens of Nigeria, Mr. Ola?
Yeah. Unfortunately, fake news, as far as 30, 45 years ago, has cost have plunged the country into chaos severally, which leads to a lot of loss of life and properties. There will be a time that you will hear that 20 Hausa men has been killed at Mashalashi Alaja market in Agege. And as a result of that, the Hausa community in Kano or Kafanchan will start revenging on the Yoruba people that are living there. And by the time you check, you will just realize that the fakeness of the news about killing Hausa that led to the killing of Yoruba as a revenge is not true. And the government agency and some government official and some governors have not been helping situation. I will zero in on a particular incident that happened recently in 2015, when a particular government of a particular state came out and said certain number of tribesmen has been killed in a particular community. Saying that out without the permission of the Inspector General of Police, the CP, the Director of DSS, and up till today, we've not been able to verify that information, but up to today, killings are still going on as a result of that type of comment. It is very, very dangerous to give false information. It is ungodly, it is unfair. When you pass false information, you could as well be guilty of murder or manslaughter, because somebody somewhere may be killed as a result of the information you just passed out. So it's a destructive aspect of it can even destroy a home. It runs across. If somebody passes information to your boyfriend or your husband about you, it can affect your relationship and it can affect the future of your children and the future of the home. It can actually fracture the foundation of a home. So let our charities begin from home. Let us, as a citizen, work hard on our part to ensure that this information that I'm about to pass out, is it true? Where did it happen? When did it happen? How did it happen? To whom did it happen? And let the government agency that is supposed to help put measures in place for information to be verified, not to be filtered by, like Kingsley said. No, it's just that let there be a media, let there be a forum, let there be something in place that catch the information the moment you get on here. Let phone calls, let visit be made for a verification to be made, and then government should come out and clarify quickly, not even slowly. The issue that happened, the issue of killings that happened at the toll gate recently, I blame the government for not coming out with the facts on time. They have their agencies there, the army are there, the police are there, the DSS are there. There are organizations around toll gate that are CCTV. Even if the CCTV of the toll gate has been tampered with in any way, if it is too dark, there are organizations with high-rise buildings around the place that have CCTV. Shouldn't we have gone there to see what we can gather, and within 6 to 12 hours come out with facts and figure and get rid of fictions and lies? So government too has a lot of role to play in helping to ensure that the right information and not false information. Is not enough to complain that the information are false. No, if the information are false, feed us with the one that is the truth, so that we can weigh the two and the right thinking people will speak in the right direction. Not only false information
Mr.
coming out and government say it is a false. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, Mrs. Zainab, what would you say are the effects fake news has on the country and Nigerians as well? Mrs. Zainab, we can't hear you. We can't hear you, Mrs. Zainab. Seems you may have a muted from your end. No, we can't hear you. Okay, moving on while we try to sort that out, Comrade Al Mustafa, what would you say are the effects of fake news on Nigerians and Nigeria, especially judging by the events that have unfolded in recent times?
You mean the effect of fake news in our society?
Exactly.
The effect, like I said earlier, my other this has mentioned, the effect is.
Okay, we can't hear you, Comrade Al Mustafa. Mrs. Zainab, can we hear you now?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Still can't hear you. Yes, Comrade Al Mustafa, we can hear you now.
Ola, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Asmao, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. We can hear you now.
Okay. Hello.
We can
Hello.
hear you. You're good. We can hear you.
Hello.
Go ahead, we can hear you.
Okay. The effect one is very clear, is to incite the public against the government of the day. Hello.
Go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, the effect that I see, that I think of about the fake news in our society is to instigate the public against the government. If the government is not doing well, everybody wants to use any avenue, any opportunity to see that they get to the government. And you see, once fake news is sent into the public, everybody now see that, oh, is it what the government is doing? Because the government is not there, it's not speaking directly with them. They don't know what the government is doing. So whoever come with the fake news, then it got them. That was I think is the effect of the fake news in our society, the origin of it. That we all need to sit tight. The government need to sit tight and say that, okay, everything is going well in our society, where everybody, even whoever want to think about fake news, we thought, is the public going to buy into it? But if the people is not sensitized about all this fake news from the government is not doing, there's no way you can get to erode it completely from our space.
Okay, thank you very much. Mrs. Zainab, can you hear me? Oh, but we can't hear you. We really can't hear you. Okay, so Mr. Ola, some have called for the passing of the social media bill to curb fake news. However, many are against it because they feel it violates the freedom of speech. What do you think can be done to curb fake news in Nigeria?
One, already there is a law that's in place. I don't know the particular section of the law. It is that when you make a false representation or false presentation or lie, you could be punished for it. So before the government can talk about bringing in a law to gag social media, I think they need to put this particular law that is in place in use. First, if anybody put up a fake representation or fake information or untrue information or false information and is affecting the public, let us use the existing law to punish that person and let them serve as scapegoats to others, rather than trying to put a gag on the social media. It is an opportunity. Let people come out and lie and let them pay the consequences of lying. And by so doing, a lot of signal will be sent to people not to put up fake news. If there is any media within Nigeria media house that even help to circulate fake news, let them be sanctioned, let them be fined. And by so doing, with the existing law we have in place, I think we will be able to checkmate that. But saying that we want to gag or regulate the social media in a special way might as well mean that we are giving our rights away, which is our fundamental human right, the freedom of speech. And so I think government just need to sit up and ensure that anybody that perpetuated the act of sharing, giving, or being the source of fake information should be identified and punished accordingly.
Okay, thank you very much. Comrade, can you hear me? Comrade Al Mustafa.
Yeah, I can hear you now. It's clear.
Okay, but it seems your network is still having some technical issues. Mrs. Zainab, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, Asma.
Okay. Now, how do you think we can prevent the spread of fake news among social media users in Nigeria, Comrade Al Mustafa?
Yeah, the only way to prevent this fake news in our society, first of all, like I said earlier, the government has to enact a law that will guide the social media handlers. One, they have to, like Ola said, there have to be a law that will guide everybody, that whoever commit spreading untrue information or this thing will has to face the law. But if the law is not there, then anything is bound to happen. The law need to be exist. It need to be enacted and passed. That okay, this is it. If you part a social media that is capable of tear the country apart, this is the law you face. Everybody that is on social media fake news will be very careful with what they are doing. So you see that everything still bounces back to the government. That the government does not really sit down and do the needful that will help the society.
Okay. Thank you very much, Comrade Al Mustafa. Mrs. Zainab, can you hear me? But we still can't hear you. It seems we still can't hear you. Okay, Mr. Ola, how do you think we can prevent the spread of fake news among social media users in Nigeria?
All right, it's very, very simple. If you push out fake news, let the government agency that is supposed to deal with that rise into action, and make sure that you are sanctioned in a way, and make sure that you are publicized as somebody who shared that kind of news, and educate the public, not only when fake news is shared. Let there be a leaflet. When data protection law was passed in the United Kingdom, in every document that is issued in every organization is at the bottom. You don't mess around with information. The fact that you have access to an information does not mean you should use it. If you do so, you go to 6 months imprisonment. And if there is an evidence against you, you go to jail. It's as simple as that. So let the government, the onus still comes back to the government. Once you pass fake news, once you use the media wrongly to perpetuate the act of passing fake news, let there be a sanction so that you will be made responsible. By the time few people are jailed, by the time few social houses are sanctioned openly, not secretly, I think we will get to the bottom of putting an end to the issue of sharing fake news.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay.
So could you please tell us, in your opinion, how do you think we can prevent the spread of fake news among social media users, Mrs. Zainab?
Well, just like Mr. Ola said and Comrade Mustafa said, there needs to be consequences for people's actions when it comes to spreading fake news. We need to implement those laws, strengthen the institutions that will carry out those things, so that if there is law and order, people will obey. Nigerians are law-abiding citizens. Unless you do not show them that these are the consequences, then they keep going on the wrong direction. For example, when seatbelt came in, a lot of people were not wearing seatbelts. They felt like it was a posh thing to do. But when they started finding them, even though they said you should pay 1.5, the police were collecting 5,000 from people. You see that a lot of people, because they know how much they're going to pay, they automatically started using, and now it has become almost everybody is using that. So and the government needs to be proactive. It needs to communicate with its citizens. It needs to be transparent so as to avoid excessive spread of fake news around. So I think that's about it. So I think if that is tried, I think there will be less fake news rolling around in there.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mrs. Zainab, for being with us on the show, talking about state of the nation, the role and effect of fake news in our society. And we had this discussion with Comrade Al Mustafa Asuku Abdullah.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hello?
She has frozen.
Come again.
We can't
Can you hear
hear her.
me?
She has frozen.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hello?
We also had Mr. Olanrewaju Abolarinwa, a security expert, and Mrs. Zainab Buba Galadima. She's former counselor and former SA to the Vice President on Domestic and Sexual Violence. Thanks for being with us on the show on Youth Assembly. My name is Ene Kenyawe, and I've been produced by Asma Usani, supervised by Ehi Ohiani. Thank you. Next week, rather tomorrow, we'll be right here with another fresh edition of the program Youth Assembly on Click Niger, Radio Nigeria's very first fully online radio station. If you haven't followed us on social one, and on Facebook, Click Niger, as well as Instagram. Thanks for being with us. Bye bye.